Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. This video is really important. It's about gang stalking. To understand why I am being stalked by a bunch of people in concert, you have to understand why Obama isn't as accepted as the white presidents were and are. Now, some of you would say, hey, that's not the case. Everyone loves Obama. He's many white people's favorite president. And to some degree, they would be right. But where they're wrong, they are really wrong. So to understand, you have to understand the most popular social club, the Freemasons. They have some lodges, many of their lodges, I'm told most of their lodges or a lot of their lodges are all white. They're white only to this day. As they swear up and down they're not racist, and people talk about how there are many presidents who are Freemasons and so on and so forth, you have to understand that. This is not conspiracy theory. These are the straight up facts. And in this day and age we live in, a lot of people will hear me out after I bring up the term Freemasons, because they know in recent years that a lot of those conspiracy theories have been proven to be true. And that's a story for another day. And again, I'm somebody with over 15,000 sources and references in my videos, over 16,000 videos posted on the internet. Okay, it's safe to say that I know what I'm talking about. I've challenged people to debates and they refuse to debate me. So many times I've challenged people to debates and they refuse to debate me. They're intimidated because I'm the top martial artist ever possible due to tech, breeding, cheating, and generational ill-gotten gains, meaning no one can ever equal or one-up me in the future. And the son of two doctors, one a brain surgeon who came here penniless and worked his way up. When they start to wrap around their minds who I am and what my argument is, they pretty much just tuck their tails and go quiet. We see it time and time again. I have thousands and thousands of videos where we see that. It doesn't matter if they have several thousand views, 10,000 views, 30,000 views, or one view. It never fails. And on that note, I challenged people to a debate on this topic. With that being said, let's start to understand why Obama is not as accepted. Well, first, I want you to picture a bunch of white rich people in the South having a get-together and taking part in white activities with only white people there. Now picture a bunch of rich white people in Beverly Hills who are part of social clubs, maybe they're Freemasons, various networks, okay? And many of them live in gated communities or whatever, and then move to Beverly Hills or live in a gated community there or whatever. Now I want you to just picture the average upper middle class gated community in a place that's mostly white, where people live there to be around white people. Now try to wrap your mind around their cultural values and social norms, their human rules, customs, and traditions, their unspoken rules, their hidden rules, if you will. So as the topic of Obama comes up in those places, there's a certain disdain for him. And they're not all Republicans. They just believe in keeping things, as they would say, a certain way. And the certain way is a play on words for WEIGH. It has to do with RNA gene expression, DNA and RNA. Okay, it's the difference between Michael Jordan, for example, and Chris Mullin. The difference between Larry Bird and Kobe Bryant. There's this different way, if you will, and not just in ways that are similar, but in other ways as well. There's different tastes, there's different habits, etc. And as they try to blur the line, they try to make it extremely white heavy instead of giving people their rights to pursue whatever culture they want. Think about all those people who don't want their children to date black people. Now think about all those false images of Christ. He's white, he looks gay, has long hair, what have you. No offense to anybody, this stuff has to be said. Think about all those Jewish supremacists and Israeli propaganda and pro-Israeli people and activists all over the world. Think about Arabs and Muslims who do not want people to use the Palestinian conflict to make all races equal. They want the existing social orders to remain the way they are. Now, some of these Arab guys are quite nice, but They are traditionalists. They're quite insistent. And so it is with basically every race on this planet. There's people who are tribalists. Here in America, we have the most pronounced racist nation on the planet. Now, some of you say, well, if you don't like it, go to this country or that country where they kill you from being from the wrong tribe. Well, they kill you here through proxy for being black. Not just the police, but also through gang members who collaborate with the state to make sure things go a certain way as they reinforce the propaganda campaign of the state and the psychology of the state. I know firsthand here in California, I met a lot of these gang members, and they have everything from told me to all but told me that that's how it works, on top of the overwhelming amount of evidence that everyone has before that. Understanding the fentanyl crisis and the government's exact response. The crack epidemic and the government's exact response. COINTELPRO on the Panthers, all the resources they used to bring them down, why they didn't effectively win the war on drugs, which could easily be won. If there was a culture in the South of black guys getting at white girls, the government would effectively stamp it out. But you think they can't stamp out the war on drugs, the drug trade, with all the obvious evidence of it? The nice cars, druggies in the streets, with just vice taxes. So everyone knows that there's an overwhelming amount of evidence that I'm right about these things. Just like homelessness. Donald Trump added $8.4 trillion to the debt for less than $100 billion. Really, for $30 billion, you could have ended homelessness and would have saved a lot of states and a lot of counties a lot of money. A lot of cities would have been saved a lot of money if they did, but they didn't. Because they like things a certain way, as they say. And that includes the way they deal with the righteous black man and anything close to it. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, what have you. Anything they think resembles them in the slightest. They say you act like an N-word, you get treated like an N-word. What if you act like someone who's blacker than black, who's a righteous black man? How do you get treated then, when you're the sole brother of brothers? When you confound their white narratives, their Jewish narratives, and their LGBT narratives, and their token minority narratives of Christianity. So by now you should have no doubt in your mind that I'm targeted. Just as what I said in this video alone is enough to get someone targeted. Being uncontrolled opposition and saying what I've said in the last 7 minutes and 50 seconds or so is enough to get someone targeted by the government. Not just by local political activists or, angry cops, over-assertive cops, what have you, but enough to get you targeted by the federal government and the governing class. Enough to get you blacklisted. Even the word black is a play on words for be lack. Many eugenicists would say things like, the black man's fate is secure as long as he doesn't become a competitor for the white man. Well, in a sense, I'm not competing with them because I've already overcome them a zillion times over. They are beneath me. They are beneath my feet if they are moving against me. If they are not obeying God through me, if they sunk to the level being low down, dirty, no good, and lying about God and cheat me out of my rightful place when I'm the most righteous person ever lived, of course they're scum. Of course they're beneath me. Any female would say otherwise is some kind of, fair weather skank, some kind of slut, some kind of useless, cowardly, illegitimate, inhuman dog. And everyone on this planet knows that beyond any doubt unless they're retarded or something. Just look up the gold digger pranks on YouTube. Is there a consensus that a gold digger's a punk-ass bitch and that Christ is the King of Kings? You betcha. As closer to a consensus on that as one can have a consensus on anything. And for the atheists and the Satanists on them, they're forced to concede that if such a person existed, and he does, I am he, then of course he would be above everyone else. He's the Son of God. What can they say? They say, well, because I don't believe in it, I'm not going to concede that point. It's fucking retarded. So when you see someone who in universal principle is the idea that Christ as a character in the story is superimposed on, keep in mind the miracles are figurative, everyone from every culture and group who doesn't obey God through me is deeply disgraced. And if you don't believe that because you lost your mind, certainly you can believe that they have no viable counterargument. Again, no viable counterargument to the fact that I am superior. I, someone from an African, black African, Nigerian African patriarchal line, am superior. Why am I superior? Because righteousness is greater than wealth. That's why God is a play on words for good. The Lord Almighty, holy, godly, righteous. They're synonyms, basically. So you have to be righteous to truly be godly. And I'm the most righteous person that ever lived. How can anyone, even for a moment, think that magically I'm not what everyone knows that I am, which is superior? Pretty straightforward. So one could argue and sum this all up by saying I'm targeted because he lives on planet Earth, especially the part of planet Earth that's America, why he's superior and black or part black or looking black. Of course, in a sense, I'm all those things. You see, it's pretty straightforward. So if you were a serious intellectual or academic or thinking man, critical thinker, someone serious about these things, an effective analyst, if you were a gorgeous woman who worked for the state and you were an effective analyst, you know that I'm superior and I'm a superior date. And your colleagues might be some bitch-ass motherfuckers or jealous pussies from a social club who go to some all-white event where even Christ is not welcome because they're on some bitch-ass, fucking punk-ass, inferior, jealous bitch shit. Any questions?